Segment 10 Nikud 2 Nikud chet. Milenu et arenu chamas, velo shalom. Milenu et arenu chamas, velo shalom. In this segment, we'll explore adding layers of beauty and depth when crafting a sincere apology. If someone were to ask you, what are the most important sorts of messages to include when seeking to restore a broken relationship? What sort of topics or concepts would you put on your list? Here is a cluster of 4 topics that might show up on some of our lists. Admitting wrongdoing, pledging to change behavior, asking for mercy or help, appealing to the character of the other person, that is, the offended party, as one who is routinely fair or generous. Earlier in this module, we engaged an activity for which there was one column that we left untouched. The segment was 10 Nikud 2 Nikud Dalet. Within segment 10 Nikud 2 Nikud Dalet, there was a list of Divrei Shalom, and in the far left we found a column labeled Theme, which we did not use. It is that list and that column to which we are now returning. As we look at the content of that first Divrei Shalom, statement Aleph, we find that the person speaking is appealing to the audience, this king, asking him to behave with compassion. Halo terachem alenu. And that appeal for his behaving with compassion, we find at the end of the statement, is based on the character of the person he's speaking to. Ki ata melech rachum v'chanun. For you are a compassionate and gracious king. Since you are compassionate and gracious, on the basis of that character, please treat us now consistent with the character we've seen in you in the past. That is why we find in the theme column that the 4th of those 4 particular themes has been selected, appeal to character. Now, parenthetically, one might also say that we have here an admission of wrongdoing. The speakers are admitting that they have crashed some chariots. And one might also categorize this with yet another trait or theme, that of arrogance. Arrogance is not one of the primary 4, but it is another which may show up and will be appropriate for at least one of the 8 statements that you will be evaluating. So at this time, please turn back to the complete list of Divrei Shalom from segment 10 Nikud 2 Nikud Dalet and try to categorize each of the Davar Shalom according to one of the 4 themes. Again, those themes are admitting wrongdoing, pledging to change behavior, asking for mercy or help, and appealing to the character of the other person. Again, you will find one of the 8 statements doesn't really fit any of those 4, but rather is a very arrogant statement, and you may label it that way. When you have finished practicing identifying these themes in segment 10 Nikud 2 Nikud Dalet, then we'll be ready to apply the same themes to the king's prayer in the current Jonah episode. Here's the current Jonah episode. Notice in particular that to the right of each of the bicola, we find a column labeled theme. Bicolon Aleph has already been completed for you. It's been associated with the theme, a pledge to change. That is, the speaker is making a pledge to change his behavior. Please read over each of the bicola for this Jonah episode, both those found with cell 1 and also those found with cell 2, and associate each bicolon with one of the 4 themes that have been listed at the beginning of the current segment: admitting, pledging, asking, or appealing. After you've done so, see whether there is any sort of pattern that emerges from the way these are arranged.